All right. Oh Lord, Bob's got his banjo out. Better get going while the getting's good. That was the general idea of my husband's family whenever my father-in-law brought his banjo out. He was a self-taught picker. He was a prolific crooner, and he had a repertoire of traditional folk music and old-time bluegrass music that was just encyclopedic. He was amazing, but I did not grow up with banjo or old time, and I really didn't appreciate it, especially not with that, that sense of, you better get out of here. That was the advice given, better get out of here. So I didn't, unfortunately, appreciate it as much as I could have, or learn as much as I could have from him while I had the time. Because Bob got really sick in 2016. He was in and out of the hospital, critical care, that whole year. And right around this time of year, in 2016, he went critical again. And he was in a medical coma in ICU. And we did not know if he was going to regain consciousness or join us ever again. And every day he hung on, but every day you could see this strong ex-Navy music man get weaker and weaker and smaller. And his birthday is in mid-October. So his birthday was rolling around while he was just laying trapped in this bed with nothing but our worried voices or the whooshing of the ventilator and the beeping, all the time beeping. And so his birthday started approaching like this grim milestone, and the presents that we had wrapped up for him seemed useless, worse than useless, a cruel joke. So I got to thinking as his birthday was getting closer and he showed no signs of improving. He was just sort of lingering. And I thought, what could I offer? What could I possibly give him as a present that would be useful to him right now in the state that he's in? What could be beautiful? What could remind him who loves him and remind him to stay? And I remembered this ballad. This is Lord Bateman, the ballad that I want to sing today, child ballad number 53. It stuck with me. I heard it, before that, but it stuck with me because the idea of a man who has been captured and was near death's door and rescued by the love of a woman, and having the love come and find him again, that stuck with me. So it has variants in Italy and Norway and Sweden, and it has all these variants all over, but it's primarily English and British and came over with immigrants to the Appalachian Mountains. So the version that I learned and repeated over and over again in my head is sung by Elizabeth LaPrelle from Southwestern Virginia. But if you'll just keep in mind, this was intended for an audience of one. I am not a musician, and it was actually intended for an unconscious audience of one. So this is Lord Bateman. Lord Bateman was a noble lord, and he thought himself a high degree, and he would not rest nor be contented till he had sailed that old salt sea. So he sailed east and he sailed to the westward. He sailed on over to the Turkish shore, and there they took and bound him prisoner, never to be released anymore. There grew a tree inside of his prison. There grew a tree both broad and high, and there they took and bound him prisoner till he grew weak and like to die. Well, the turkey had one only daughter, and she was fair as fair could be. She stole the keys to her father's prison, and she vowed Lord Bateman she'd set free. She took him down to the deepest cellar. She gave him drink of strongest wine. She threw her loving little arms around him, crying, "Oh, Lord Bateman, if you were mine." They made a vow, they made a promise. For 7 long years they'd made it stand. He vowed he would marry no other lady, and she vowed she'd marry no other man. 7 long years has rolled along. 7 years and it feels like 99. At last she packed up her gay clothing, and she vowed Lord Bateman she'd go find. So she sailed east, and she sailed to the westward. She sailed on over to the English shore. She sailed on up to Lord Bateman's castle, and she summoned the porter right down to the door. "Is this not Lord Bateman's castle? And is his lordship not within?" Oh yes, cried the proud young porter. "He's just now taken a new bride in." "Go bid him send me a slice of cake. Go bid him send me a drink of wine, and not to forget the Turkish lady who had freed him from his close confine." What's the news, you proud young porter? What's the news you bring to me? "There stands at the door of your castle a lady. She's the fairest one I ever did see. She has got a gold ring upon every finger, and on one of them she's got 3, and enough gay gold all around her middle as to buy Northumberland of thee. She bids you send her a slice of cake. She bids you send her a drink of wine, and not to forget the Turkish lady who had freed you from your close confine." Well, then up then spoke the new bride's mother, who never was heard to speak so free. "What's to become of my only daughter, who was just now made a bride of thee?" "Well, I've done no harm to your only daughter, and she is none of the worse for me. She came to me on a horse and saddle, and she shall go home in coterie." Lord Bateman then pounded his fist on the table. He broke it in pieces, 1, 2, 3, said, "I'd forsake all for the Turkish lady. She has crossed that old salt sea for me."